Hi everybody, this is the fan theory of the week video for the week of July 23rd. I am pre-recording this video on June 17th because during the week of July 23rd, I have a lot of other stuff going on and I'm going to be super busy and I won't really have time to be on social media. So I'm getting all my July fan theory of the week content out in advance. And I will be getting this out. This video is scheduled to be posted on July 23rd at 9:45 a.m. So today I'm going to be talking about Big Bang Theory fan theories. References for these fan theories can be found in videos on the YouTube channels The Hollywood Vault, Movies Explained, and Sitcoms Explained. And I must preface this video by saying that these three videos have a lot of overlap in fan theories, and they tend to get very repetitive. So that's kind of why this fan theories of the week video is only going to last until the end of August, because I don't really have a lot of material I can use, because a lot of these fan theory videos tend to be repetitive, and I don't want to bore you guys. The first fan theory that I wanted to talk about the Big Bang Theory, is Leonard is dead. So this connects to the end of the Young Sheldon finale, where Sheldon is writing his memoir and he is mentioning how he named his son Leonard, and his name is Leonard Cooper, and he almost named him Leonard Nimoy Cooper because Leonard Nimoy is his favorite character from Star Trek, but Amy said, "Be grateful that I let you name him Leonard." So this theory posits that Leonard died at the end of the Big Bang Theory, and Amy and Sheldon named their son Leonard after him, which is a very sad theory. I never even considered before that Leonard could have died after the end of the Big Bang Theory, but one thing that could have killed him was exposure to whatever chemicals were in the explosion from the elevator explosion in season 3, where the rocket launcher fuel went off. Because long-term effects of that probably could have given him cancer, and then he could have died from the cancer. That is my thought on that. Theory number 2. Sheldon is Barney from How I Met Your Mother in an alternate universe. This theory is only a plausible thing because before Jim Parsons auditioned for before he auditioned for The Big Bang, he auditioned for the role of Barney. And the only way this could be true is because Big Bang Theory has this whole thing with doppelgangers, where there's a whole episode that focuses on, like, people in alternate realities predicting what will happen in the future to the characters. Like, as part of this theory, Barney is a fertility doctor who helps Lily and Marshall with their pregnancy, which also predicts that they will have kids. But for this theory, when he auditioned for the Big Bang Theory, Jim Parsons for How I Met Your Mother, he basically mentioned something about a horn dog. So if you guys remember, Barney is the womanizer character in the friend group on How I Met Your Mother. So his personality is way different than Sheldon's because he's very personable and into women, and Sheldon is socially awkward and kind of off-putting and rude to people, and there's a fan theory that he might have Asperger's, which I think could be true. I noticed that about him as I was watching the series, and Sheldon is actually my least favorite character on The Big Bang Theory because I think if he is autistic, they really overly pronounced the autistic traits and made him too full of himself, which I don't really enjoy watching. The next fan theory that I wanted to talk about is Howard's mother is not real. Howard's mother was played by Carol Ann Susi, who died in 2014. I believe she had cancer, and when she was written off the show, they had a great memorial episode for her. So, Howard's dad abandoned him when he was 11, and then he was raised by his controlling mother, who kind of babied him throughout the rest of his youth and adulthood, because he's still living with her in his 30s before he moves in with Raj. And she is notated by her high screechy voice that is always yelling from another room at Howard, and you do not really see her on screen. You just hear her shout from off stage from most of the show, except for in the wedding episode for Howard and Bernadette, where you briefly see her. And then she's written off the show after she dies in season 8. To go along with this theory, there's another theory that Howard rebuilds Bernadette to be a robot that is similar to his mother and never really outgrows the toxic dynamic, because in the beginning, when we first meet Bernadette, who is played by Melissa Rauch, you see that she's kind and very sweet, but as the show goes along and you get into when she's marrying Howard, you see she's controlling and competitive, kind of similar to Monica and Friends. And I see the theory about Howard rebuilding her Bernadette as a robot to be similar to his mother to be true, and that's actually really sad because that shows me that he did not really outgrow the toxic relationship with his mom. Sheldon is a sociopath. So this theory is basically saying that because of Sheldon's personality and how he can come off as very rude to people, he's a sociopath. And, I mean, this could be true, but there's a theory that counteracts it that says he has Asperger's. I mean, yeah, people with Asperger's can definitely come off as rude to people sometimes. Like, I've noticed that with people that I know that have Asperger's, but with Sheldon, I think it's a little bit different because he doesn't realize he's being rude, but I think the people that I know who have Asperger's can maybe not pick up on the fact that they're being rude right away, but eventually they will. But Sheldon is kind of rude and condescending to his friends throughout the whole series, and it takes him until the end of the show when he's giving his Nobel Prize speech to realize that they have loved him the whole time and always stood by him. And the reason why he acts this way is because he's afraid of people leaving, because the trauma that Sheldon deals with is that his father died when he was 14. He left to go to work one day and then died on the job and never came home. and he had to live with that for the rest of his adult life. And he also walked in on his parents doing a role play and thought that his dad was with another woman, so that was actually never explained to his either. I think if Sheldon's parents had told him that they were doing a role play, that would have cleared up a lot of his confusion, but they never said anything about it. That's the biggest plot hole that I hate about the Big Bang Theory. The next fan theory I want to talk about is Jackie from Roseanne is in witness protection and changes her identity to be in the Big Bang Theory universe. So this theory connects to the actresses who play Sheldon's mother in the Big Bang Theory and in Young Sheldon, who are related to each other. In the Big Bang Theory, Sheldon's mother is played by Laurie Metcalf, who played Jackie Connor on Roseanne from 1988 to 1997. And then later she would play Sheldon's mother on the Big Bang Theory. Her daughter, Zoe Perry, is the one who plays younger Mary Cooper in Young Sheldon. And she also played a younger version of Jackie in Roseanne. And how the Big Bang Theory also connects to the Roseanne universe is that Sarah Gilbert, who plays Darlene Connor, Roseanne's daughter, plays Dr. Leslie Winkle, and Leonard Hofstadter, who played Darlene's boyfriend, David, played Leonard. So I think because of who these characters played in Roseanne, and because of all the trauma they dealt with, that's why they transferred over to the Big Bang Theory. Of course, this theory could be probably proven as false because of the fact that there is a spin-off to Roseanne that aired from 2018 to 2021 called The Connors, which I've only seen one episode of, and I stopped watching it after that because I didn't think it was funny. I think the original series is much better. The next theory is Penny is a CIA spy. So this theory is proven by the fact that Penny has no last name throughout the whole entire series. She moves across the hall from Sheldon and Leonard, who are government scientists who almost blow up the apartment building, and I think that she was called the apartment building to check up on Leonard and Howard after the explosion. And also, in season 1, Leonard dates a North Korean spy, and I can't remember what her name is, but that's another reason why Penny would have to go to Pasadena to check on her. And she just goes by this alias that she's an actress who works at the Cheesecake Factory as a secondary job. She has no last name. Her family history is that she grew up on a farm in Iowa and that her dad was abusive and she moved to California to get away from her abusive dad. Penny is probably one of my favorite characters on The Big Bang Theory besides Amy. She is played by Kaylee Cuoco, who prior to The Big Bang Theory was on 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter with John Ritter. I talked about the 7 traumas theory in my video from June 17th. that connects the 7 traumas theory to the psych ward theory from Friends, and how the characters from Friends and the characters from Big Bang have similar traumas. I already talked about how Bernadette is a cyborg and how Raj doesn't recover from his selective mutism, but simply accept it. So this kind of connects to the 7 traumas theory because Raj has selective mutism throughout the first 6 seasons, from season 1 to the first episode of season 6, where he is very socially awkward around women and uses alcohol as a way to make himself more comfortable around women. But at the beginning of season 6, after he has a breakup, he has a full blown out conversation with Penny without the use of alcohol. So his selective mutism magically goes away without any question or without him going to therapy to work on his relationship issues. So Raj is similar to Chandler from Friends because he has issues with relationships. Of course, you guys know that Chandler does not have selective mutism. He deals with his relationship issues in a different way because he uses humor as a defense mechanism, much like Matthew Perry did in his real life, because Chandler is basically art imitating life, and I have a whole series about that on my YouTube channel too if you want to go back and watch those videos. His relationship with Howard is very interesting because he is very emotionally attached to him until he gets married to Bernadette, and when he starts dating Bernadette, Raj is really heartbroken that he has another relationship. So I think it was implied that Howard and Raj were supposed to be a gay couple, but it was never explicitly gone into. And I kind of wish that the writers did not backpedal on that, because, I mean, this series came out in 2014. And by then, gay marriage had been around since 2008. So I think it would have been interesting if Howard and Raj had been in a gay romance. But then maybe Howard could have been bi because he ends up being with Bernadette. Sheldon is lonely, and the other characters represent him overcoming wounds from his past. This theory is very sad because it basically says how Sheldon is living alone in a mental institution, kind of similar to the theory about Phoebe watching all of the other Friends characters from outside Central Park. Basically, this theory is Sheldon dealing with the wounds of his past through the other 6 characters. Like, for example, I think with Leonard, it was the fact that he was a stable figure in his life, and his dad died when he was 14, and he never got with that. Penny is kind of like similar to his mother and how close his relationship with her was. I can't remember. I have to go back and watch this video again because I'm having trouble explaining this theory, but the key trauma that one of the characters helps Sheldon to heal is his dad dying at age 14. And I guess that could be connected to Howard and how he deals with being abandoned by his dad at age 11, and how he doesn't want to open a letter from his dad, but each of his friends helps him to figure out what it might say. The next theory that I wanted to mention that is going to be talked about in a later video is John Cooper from Interstellar is Sheldon's descendant. The reason why I can't talk about this theory right now is because we are watching Interstellar when we get back from vacation. So I can't comment on this theory until we watch the movie. But when Matt and I do our entertainment wrap-up at the end of August, we will be talking about this theory in more detail and whether or not we agree with it. The final Big Bang Theory fan theory I wanted to mention is the group keeps each other together and doesn't allow each other to grow. There is a similar theory to this one about how they don't grow throughout the series and stay stagnant in their personalities for How I Met Your Mother. And the only character in How I Met Your Mother that shows any growth is Marshall. And I think I've talked about that theory before about how basically all of the characters stay stuck in their same patterns throughout the show. They don't show any growth or maturity, and they are holding each other back from growing and meeting new people just so they can be together as a friend group. And that's essentially what the group from The Big Bang Theory does throughout the whole series. The only characters you see that show any growth without the use of the friend group are Sheldon, because he ends up winning the Nobel Prize at the end. Howard, because he marries Bernadette, has a family, and goes to outer space. And then Penny, because she quits acting and gets a job in pharmaceuticals. There's another theory about Penny that says she is a psychologist analyzing the other six characters, for the male characters, Raj, Howard, Sheldon, and Leonard, for her thesis. And to connect to that theory, when Sheldon's mother, who is played by Leonard's mother, when Leonard's mother comes to visit, she actually really connects with Penny really well about her relationship with Leonard. And I really think that she's the scientist that she could have connected with on her thesis. And that's why she decides to still stay interconnected with the group, because she's analyzing Leonard and the rest of his scientist friends for her thesis. And then later in the series, when she gets the job in pharmaceuticals, she can use the information from her thesis to maybe create medications that can help people that have the disabilities or whatever kinds of things that these characters are dealing with. So do you guys agree with these fan theories for The Big Bang Theory? Which ones do you agree with the most? Which ones do you think are far-fetched? Please share your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you guys when I get home from vacation. Have a great day.